Okay, here's a latest update for Heroes for Hire. Today we'll be covering the loadout and some new development updates. Anything you see art-wise is pretty much placeholder from kind of messing around to get an idea of sizing for art. So first off, uh, today is just the loadout menu. There's a lot of moving parts that are going on with this menu. Um, Things that aren't completely obvious, but the purpose of this particular screen and system is for basically the main area where players will be selecting and building out their characters. Um, this is on the active side, and this incorporates everything that has to do with their inventory system, the currencies they're collecting, viewing their character close up, managing stat points, um, managing their current equipped gear, which can also be done in game while you're in a level, uh, and some inventory management in consumables. So uh, there's a lot of key ways to utilize um, this menu, even with given constraints that we're going to put on players. The main thing is for right now, we're giving players 3 loadouts. Now, all 3 loadouts aren't going to be unlocked right away. So you may get a character and you may get 1 loadout to start. Fine. You can mess around with that loadout, do whatever you want. Um, and then you may get to like a level or complete a quest, and then you unlock loadout 2. Now, it's not going to be a loadout for um, every character. So you may have to do certain milestones for each character in order to unlock all of their loadouts. Hate me if you want, that's just something I wanted to do for extra progression because you can use these loadouts as essentially extra slot storage. So if you're lazy and don't do bag storage or anything like that. So what you might see is these are some very basic starter classes, starting with the Witch. You'll see 5s all the way down. You can go to the Viking up. You have 5, 8, 5, 5, 5, etc. So they have different starting points. These are just arbitrary numbers I've thrown in right now. They mean nothing. You can refund your points, and refunding your points will be very cheap. Uh, in a matter of like a single run, you should be able to get at least 10 refunds to respec a character if you want. Another thing to note is I have 3 points available. I've spec'd this character in this loadout. If I go to loadout 2, you'll notice I can refund and respec for this loadout. I can go to this one and respec, and if I go back, it holds. So something I did with loadouts that you typically don't get, um, not with many games at least, is the ability to respec your character's stats and not have to spend all these points is something I saw with mainly like some MMOs and stuff where if you want to change your build and they give you a loadout, but then like your loadout's tailored a certain way, but it's still central around certain pieces of gear because of the way you spec your character. Um, no, that's dumb, and it annoys me as a player, so I didn't want to do that. Um, and programmatically, it's very easy, and I don't know why they don't do it. If you're going to give somebody a loadout, let them at least respec all their stat points according to that loadout. Like they've earned their total amount of points. Don't make them spend in-game currency. It's just a cheese dick move. Um, so yeah, so we don't do that. Each loadout you get a respec. The refund is really cheap. If not, I may even make it free just because I don't care. It's about building and exploring different builds. Um, and so you can have a few different ways of how you want to explore different builds and save them accordingly. So that's the attributes here that we're giving you. Eventually there'll be tooltips with some descriptions and stuff for each attribute. We'll have a codex for you that'll explain everything in the game. Even mechanics you haven't encountered, they'll be explained. I'm not locking anything unless it hasn't been developed. Um, so then it goes to your equipment bar, your player stash, and then consumable slots. And so if I hit F6 and F7, I'll hit F7 twice. Um, you'll notice a few things immediately. I can right click, I can send that back to my stash. That's fine. We are now empty, 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 empty. We have um, no abilities. I don't know what character I was on. Oh, I was on the Pyromancer. Okay, fine. Um, if I go to the Witch, I think it's gonna, yeah, it's fine. We'll go to the Pyromancer. So on this character, you'll notice these are ability slots. They'll be framed. And essentially what you have, let me remove all of that, is you have a default attack slot, you have a class ability 1, class ability 2, and class ultimate. Your default attack slot is driven by your weapon. So if I equip the weapon by double clicking, or we can drag, like that's fine too, um, I then get my default ability. I've just called it that, default ability. You'll see some things. It says ability, it's level 1 out of 25. It has a description, and then it says cooldown, energy, damage, power. Uh, Different things. I have not scaled them. Um, as far as all those things, it's showing basically where it's at to where it can be. Um, just keep in mind I'm not, I haven't implemented all of that yet. I can kind of show you how that will work. And then you'll see this character has not unlocked any abilities. So now if I close this menu, I go to the Witch. We're empty here. If I go ahead and hit F6, F7, I've only unlocked, I'll give myself some extra gear. We can drag in our consumables. These are health tonics. They're 3 power, they're level 1s. Cool. We got our default ability. Still, it's the same weapon. It always gives the same default ability right now. This red bar will end up being gone. It's something I did really quick so I can read the text. And we have this ability. It's an orbit ability. We can see its energy cost is currently, so your current is always your left, currently has a cooldown that's extremely massive just because I applied a curve to everything so I could see that it's scaling appropriately. So energy cost of 750, damage of 500, and its power goes from 375 to 387. Massive. And then here's another ability. This doesn't have any curves applied to it. And then we have a currency of ether shards, and you'll see that it's currency dot, so it's reading my tag. So that'll change too. It'll just be ether shards. And we can see we currently have 5,000 ether shards. That tracks, and it takes 10 to upgrade. So if we want to, we can just hit upgrade, and now we'll see we're level 2. And we don't have a level past level 2. So we haven't established anything there. I could keep hitting upgrade and it's going to do absolutely nothing. And then same with our level 1 ability. We can even drag it in there. And now we look, we have level 1. It's a class ability. We can see everything there. I can go ahead, I'll hit upgrade. Now we can look over here, we're level 2, yep, 774 to 839. Let's hit upgrade. 839, level 3. Everything's tracking. So we're upgrading our abilities just fine. We can go ahead and drag this guy out. It'll swap it to Arcane Echo Fields. Now we're back to that level 2 ability. I got a level 3 here. We'll go ahead and swap that back. I know the icons being the same sucks. So that's fine. We are currently, you can see we are currently locked on these 2 slots. However, it will still show abilities. If I click them, they're just going to be locked. It's kind of cheating. So I don't think I'm going to hide much, but we'll see. And so then it has a class ultimate here. It says ultimate, it's a level 1, it's called amplified status. That's not an actual ability. We've got our class ability here, and we can go ahead. We can try and put it on there, but it doesn't matter. This slot is locked out. We can't do anything. So that's for the abilities. Now you'll see that things like your gear power and your effective combat power start to go up. And let's see, I have a ring here. Yeah, so if we equip this legendary ring, 82 to 69, 79. So yeah, so that ring's a bit better. So our combat power and gear power go up, and that's something we'd like to see. They all say their power, their level. This is a level 9. It's a level 30. Staff of Impact of Puncturing, so mythic weapon, that's fine. Those are going to be very hard to get. I can see we're expending our points down here when we're upgrading. Can't consume any of our consumables as we would expect. I go to my other loadout, we can see our abilities are removed. This is as intended. All of your abilities are essentially per slot, so equip that, we get that back. We can go here, we can say we want this ability, that's fine. And so now if I go between them, we should see different abilities. Sorry, let's put the arcane echo fields. So loadout 1, orbit ability, loadout 2, arcane echo field, loadout 3, whatever. So you're going to end up unlocking a bunch of class abilities. These are player input driven, something kind of a little bit different. For a bullet heaven, you'll still have your passives. Your passives are handled and managed completely separate from your character, and they're upgraded in a different area, and you get some globals and stuff to manage those better. So, you know, we can upgrade this some more. It'll keep scaling. And then, yeah, you have your currencies in the scroll box here. This will get cleaned up a bit. A lot of this will get cleaned up. And in the middle will be your character render. And so that's kind of the general layout that you're going to see. It'll get tightened up a bit and scaled and proportioned better. But this is a pivotal screen for where you're going to be applying points to upgrading. So as you get new attribute points, you acquire new gear. You have a weapon and head, chest, arms, legs, feet, ring, amulet, and then the last slot is your utility slot. And your utility slot is where you get utility bags, and so you can equip that bag, and that will essentially increase your stash size. Now, I will say your stash can get quite large because what I'm opting to do, one, they're going to be hard to get, but two is between all of your loadouts, all I care about is that you have a bag in this. All I care about is that you have a bag in the slot, so you can stack bags per the loadouts you have unlocked. So if you unlock all three and you put in that work, you put a bag in each slot in their loadout. Depending on the grade bag, you can have a lot of slots here. You can have quite large stash for your character. You're also going to have a world stash that's not character specific. It's just your account stash, and that will also be able to be increased. You'll get bag slots for that to increase that. Think something like WoW, where you can increase via bags. Very simple but effective mechanic. So that's your loadout screen. You know, eventually this character list will be quite populated. There's still some more data to go on here. Gonna round out showing you each loadout slot in here. It will then show you your gear power. Between gear power or effective combat power, not sure yet, but I'm thinking probably your effective combat power will be here, and essentially you can then see each character what their effective combat power is for each loadout slot, and so maybe you need to see characters you need to work on or whatever the case is. So that drives you out of your loadout screen, and then this will be pulled back. You'll be back to the world map. You can access this and manage your characters at any time. This all happens pre-deployment. So once you click on a level, you're then only going to be able to pick a character and which loadout slot you want. Now you can click on each loadout slot. You can see um, roughly what the icons are for each ability and the names, and that's it. And then we're going to show you your gear power and effective combat power. And then a brief like you have this many slots available, basically this text right here, you're blank out of blank for your stash. That's all you're going to get shown. You should be managing your character from this screen. So when you click on a level, you're just picking your character, picking your loadout you want to take, and going into the level, and that's that. And then from there, you're gathering new gear and fighting enemies and basically working on your passive builds and stuff, and any synergies that you can find for your build based on your abilities that you've equipped. So things that I said, like we capped how we're managing uh, upgrades. So depending on our levels, we target each individual level. This will probably end up being shifted to a curve because I don't want to do each level individually. So I'll probably shift this to a curve and then have an array for like I do now, except we're going to take in um, a row name via a tag, and then that will drive the amount based on the curve. So we can then scale them and probably have a coefficient to manage that with. And then you can see like cooldown seconds, right? I did the curve, but if we like remove that curve, that's fine. Or we can go to the curve, and then we can end up adding like a new curve, right? Which is cooldown, fine. We can add a key. I don't know. Sure. So then we can go here, and then we're a new curve table, and then we can be like cooldown seconds. So then you can see like as you level it up, right? And obviously I went really drastic, but then we can start um, at 0, yeah. So we can start removing seconds. So as you have that ability here, yeah, our cooldown is negative, whatever. Like that's not going to be really the case because of how it's reading it. So be building out curves for pretty much everything, and we decide how much energy we're going to use, and all of that is managed through there. So for power scores, everything like that are our categories. Don't worry about color tags, our base level, max level. Um, there's something, do I want to talk about it? Yeah, why not? There's something that I'm working on called mutation tiers, and essentially each ability can gain one mutation tier. Um, I may consider two, but right now just one mutation tier. So with the mutation tier, we can trigger them at certain levels, but what it does is it essentially overrides and grants you a new ability. So for something like this, I'm considering right now every ability will have a mutation tier uh, at level 26. So you hit level 26 and then you can grant that new ability. So now your new ability is mutated, and it'll basically be a variant. And so maybe later on I'll allow you to go um, beyond that. So maybe at uh, level 51 will then be your second mutation tier. And basically the abilities just get exponentially more powerful. So that's something I'm working on. It's still very much in the works, but it does work right now just for one tier. We can only give you one mutation tier right now, and so yeah, that's the way that all of those work. Other things I've done, things like color tags, allow us to basically manage our UI via a tag from a color subsystem. And then, we can have our scaling attributes, things that we want to set up. So, like, if we want this ability's damage, we can then go in here um, and I can then go to attribute, let's say, what is this? Fire. So we can then go to damage. Where is it? And then fire damage. So as you scale your fire damage attribute, will also start scaling damage. So that is beside level, that is straight damage scaling, and this will be dealt in the output. Um, so you won't see it right away. Let's see, can I overwrite this menu? I can. All right. I don't know if any of these have fire damage. No, they don't. Wow. A lot of this gear is ass. What is that, a ring? Oh, because I put the legendary ring on. Yep, that makes sense. Pick up range, goes down 3 meters. Okay. Yeah, so I don't have anything fire on. But essentially that's what that allows us to do. So we can then scale by multiple attributes too. So like if we want to scale this by more than just fire damage, that's fine as well. And it gives us different ways to scale each ability and make them very, very unique and versatile depending on the builds. So yeah, so that is how the abilities have moved along, how our loadout screen is going. Um, the next screen I think you saw is for the UI. I don't want to make this too long, so uh, we have the UI screen, and I think most people have already seen. Whoever cares has seen this, and so this is where you're managing in-game. Um, not too much to go over there, and then working through getting all these characters set up, so we are able to preview our giant list of characters. We've got all of our ability upgrading working. We can see our currencies. All of this is working attributes. The save system is working. We save right now in different tiers or different ways. So I stash a profile ID in its own save file, and then right now how I have it broken up is just I save progression separately, and then each profile in the profile deals with loadouts accordingly. So that's pretty much how they're being saved. And yeah, next on the list is the world map and doing server travel to levels and loading all of that in. Can't wait to show you that. Hopefully in the next week or two, I'll actually finish it. And then we move on to abilities and damage and our AI system. Yeah, exciting stuff.